So Dan Sullivan and I wrote two books together, Who Not How and The Gap and the Gain. And we're currently working on our third book, which is called 10X is easier than 2X. And in this video, I wanted to talk to you about why 10X, going 10 times bigger, is actually easier than going 2 times, and how you can begin thinking about going 10 times bigger in your life. The first question is essentially, why is 10 times easier than 2 times? So I've been interviewing literally people who are making 20 plus million a year to people who are near billionaires on this subject, who have been learning and applying this principle for 10, 20 years. And one of the key themes that I've found about why 10X is easier than 2X is because, for one, 2X doesn't require transformation. 2X doesn't require you to change how you operate at an identity level. It doesn't require you to change how you do anything. 2X is about working harder, longer. It's about doing more of what you're already doing. It's about more energy, more effort, more time. 2X doesn't require transformation. 2X is frustrating. 2X actually forces you to speed things up, whereas 10X requires you to slow things down. In order to go 10X, you've actually got to step back and realize that at least 80% of what you're doing is stopping you from going 10X. It's that 80-20 principle. Dan actually has a concept he calls unique ability. And in order to go 10X, you got to go way deeper into your own unique ability, which is for you, the 1, 2, or 3 things you do that make the biggest impact, your unique skills and abilities that have the biggest impact. One aspect is actually just realizing, in order to go 10X, first off, you can't be doing most of what you're doing. You have to be doing way less. Not only do you need to be outside of like all of the activities, like one of the most important essential aspects of going 10X is actually applying who, not how. And this is where you stop doing 90% of what you're doing and you get who's to handle that, who's that are way more capable and who also want to be doing those things. The less you do, the more flow you will have, the more active recovery you'll have, and the less decision fatigue you will have. So rather than you doing so many things, you actually want to free yourself up. And this is why actually a huge aspect of going 10X is actually freeing up your time. You actually want way more time, not less time. You need more time of open time to actually think, time to create, time to actually go out and like discover, maybe travel, read good books, invest in yourself. I guess the first aspect of going 10 times bigger is actually having 10 times better and more free time, 10 times more time. And by the way, you're the one who creates your time. You're the one where your time comes from. So owning your freedom of time, first off, by allowing other people to actually handle the hows of what you're currently doing, or just eliminating, automating, like actually removing most of what you're doing and freeing up your time. 2 crucial aspects of going 10 times is freeing up your time so that you actually have more time. I love the quote from Dan where he said that entrepreneurs who are too tightly scheduled don't have the space to transform themselves. You're either working in your business or you're working on yourself. Jim Rohn said, if you work on your business, you can make a living. If you work on yourself, you can make a fortune. So by freeing yourself up, you can go deeper and deeper into your own unique ability. You can go deeper and deeper into your own vision. You can transform yourself a lot more through relationships, through recovery, through creativity, through thinking, through visualizing. So 10Xing your time, but also 10Xing yourself. You yourself are the bottleneck of your own transformation. And so if you 10Xed yourself, meaning got better knowledge, better information, maybe got way better health, then you're creating the landscape where 10X is a lot more possible. 10X is easier because it invites transformation. It requires you to slow down. Actually, it's easier because you actually don't work harder, you work easier. And easier being you do the things you absolutely love. That would be unique ability. You also have a team that's in place that is what Dan would call self-managing. The team actually handles anything that's predictable. Whereas the stuff that's non-predictable, which is creativity, visualization, collaboration, creativity, those things are where you focus. You also need to choose 10X. And actually, I interviewed a guy named Garnett Morris. He's got a massive company, does way over 200 million a year in revenue selling life insurance, actually up in Canada. And one of the things that Garnett said, which I loved, is he said, you really should go for 10X in a 3-year period, not like a 10 or 20-year period. Instead, you really want it to be a short-term massive transformation. And so one of the things you want to think about when it comes to going 10X. So if you only had 3 years to go 10X, whatever that is, the first question you have is what do you 10X? And by 10X, what I mean is you take wherever you're at in a certain place and you make it 10 times bigger or better or, different. You can choose any metric. You can choose any area of your life that you want to 10x. And I guess the first question, if you only had 3 years to do it, is what would be the most fundamental or most powerful 10x? And there's certain areas you might be able to 100x in 3 years with the right collaboration, the right help, the right support, the right training, the right focus. As an example, my YouTube channel, the filming of this YouTube video, I have like 42,000 YouTube subscribers. Could I 10x in 3 years and have 400,000? Yeah. Could I 100x where I have 4 million? Is that within the realm of possibility? Yes. If I really started thinking about it. So that actually then invites the question, not only what do you want to 10x, because you could 10x your free time, you could 10x your spirituality, you could 10x your health, you could 10x your connection with your kids, you could 10x your net worth, you could 10x your revenue. Like it's actually, once you actually start opening yourself up to 10x, a first obvious question is that, you would want to ask, well, what do you want to 10x? What would be the most important thing to 10x? And if you only had 3 years to do it, how would you start going about doing it? It could not be by working harder, because you can't work 10 times harder, nor would you want to work 10 times longer. That would be really bad for your health. The only way to actually do it is to go easier. Easier being you actually do way less. You do less, you're way more, you've got way more time for thinking, transforming yourself. And also you've got more transformational relationships. A big next step to going 10x is to have the right collaborations. So if you were to really go 10x in a certain area, who are the people who could help you get there? That goes back to who, not how thinking, but this is not about who's you hire. This is about who's you partner with. This is about who's that you learn from. These would be mentors, partners, collaborators. I love the quote. There's a guy I interviewed for this book, actually. His name's Scott Donnell. He's an entrepreneur. He started multiple companies. 5 years ago, he said his net worth was about 2 million. Now it's over 100 million. And he's again started multiple companies. And he's really good at getting partners. He actually told me, and I love this concept, that one good employee is worth 10 average employees. One great, like phenomenal, awesome employee is worth 100 average employees. But he said one great partner, like just, one right partner is worth over 1,000 employees. These are the kind of who's that you're looking for. Obviously, you've got to make investments. You've got to make investments in your future self, make an investment in your 10x vision. I love this thinking because first off, you absolutely can 10x in 3 years. But what's required is a complete transformation. 2x does not create transformation. 2x is about harder and faster. 10x is about easier and slower. And if you really start to dive into psychology and the depths of thinking about psychology, there's obviously Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Fast is kind of habitual. It's automatic. It's subconscious. It's kind of just, it's you pushing. I would also call it force, power versus force. 10x is power, 2x is force. And so in order to get out of your fast-paced, reactive, habitual behaviors and trying to just go, and being caught in the urgent hamster wheel of life, which is where most people are, 10x requires you to actually step back, slow down, rethink your assumptions, and actually reframe not only your identity, your vision, but also your process. It literally requires a deep transformation in who you are and what you do. If you were to actually visualize yourself at 10x where you're currently at, in any area. And by the way, I would recommend no more than 3 areas in the beginning. I love the quote from Jim Collins, if you have more than 3 priorities, you have none. And so if you were to ask yourself, what 3 areas would I love to 10x in the next 3 years? Let me give myself as an example. One would be peak experiences with my kids, especially my older 3 kids. Another one would be 10xing myself as an author, having way more books and 10x the impact and sales of those books. And then the third one for me would be 10x my net worth, but also 10x the quality of my collaborations, because I'm such a huge believer that collaborations are the key to abundance. Actually, Dan teaches this concept in this book, The Free Zone Frontier, which you can actually download for free. Down below, there's a link on the Strategic Coach website. You can download Free Zone Frontier. But what Dan talks about is that your level of abundance in all forms and fashions is based on the quality of the collaborations you have in your life. And I fundamentally believe that's true. And so that's what one thing I would want to 10x over the next 3 years is not only the quality, but the quantity of my collaborations, just much higher level collaborations. And in order for you to collaborate, you obviously have to be able to give enormous value. That actually brings up another concept that Dan has called total cash confidence. This is another book down below. I recommend you download. You can download off of the Strategic Coach site for free. You can actually get these books on Audible if you're an Audible person. Like, I actually prefer audiobooks myself. But total cash confidence is about the idea that having confidence financially is not about having a certain number. A lot of people think it's about a number. Like, if I have 5 million in the bank, then I'll finally have confidence financially. And that's not true. If it's based on a number, then once you get there, you're going to not feel secure and you're going to think you need a bigger number. And that's what puts people on the hedonic treadmill of life, especially here in America. Cash confidence or money confidence is not based on a number of money or an amount of money. It's based on your perspective and understanding that you can continue to create more and more value for the right people in the future. What life and business is all about is helping other people have bigger and better futures. That's what any form of product is basically an invitation or a promise that someone can have a better future. That's what any form of service is. And so if you know that you can increase the value you can give to various people and what they're trying to accomplish in their future, then you can have total cash confidence that the money you will have in your life will always be bigger than the money you've had in the past. And that's something I've learned more and more, is that the more value I can give to the right people, it could be in these YouTube videos, but it also could be to people I collaborate with, then I know that my future is continuously bigger and safer and more. And so my confidence is internal, not external. Whereas a lot of people, they put their cash confidence on an external number, and confidence can never be external. It is fundamentally an internal reality. And it's based on your understanding that you can continue to create more and more value for better and better people, or the right fit people in the future. And so that's why having 10x collaborations for me is one of my 10x goals. And so those are my 3 areas. But I love the 3-year time frame. And I actually think there's actually a great book on this subject called 3 Hag Way. And it's kind of the idea of 3 highly achievable goals. That's what 3 Hag is. And I really don't think that you can go beyond 3 goals when it comes to specific measurable targets. So I think having a 10x vision in 3 specific areas, no more than 3 years out, is the perfect time frame to transform yourself. And you can transform yourself to such a ridiculous level in those 3 areas. But yes, you would have to transform. Yes, you'd actually have to be doing less, not more. Yes, you'd need to be better recovered and more healthy. You'd have to have better time and less decisions, actually, less decision fatigue, way more flow, way more who's, way more collaboration. But if I was to ask you, and if you were to actually clarify, what are the 3 areas that you want to 10x? My question would be, well, number one, who would you need to be? Because you've got to be, then do, then have. Who would you need to be in order to be 10x? But also, how'd you go about doing it? And chances are you really don't know how you would do it. And so the first place you would have to turn is who's. You'd have to get the right partners. And that's why I love free zone thinking. I know without a doubt that with the right collaborations, 10x is not only possible, but it's inevitable. That actually brings up a concept from Eben Pagan. Eben Pagan said that there's a concept called inevitability thinking, and that's thinking and acting as if what you want is a foregone conclusion because you set up the conditions for it to happen. And so the more you collaborate with right fit people, where you have a shared vision and you can take their capabilities or their business's capabilities and you can take your own. And that's it also reminds me of, better mentorship, 10x quality mentorship. And obviously, in order to get the right mentor, you need to have a clear vision, because mentorship is goal specific. That's what deliberate practice is as well. You can't actually engage in deliberate practice without a clear vision of your future self. You don't just deliberately practice towards nothing. Deliberate practice is essentially the science of developing expertise. And so in order to deliberately practice, you've got to have a clear goal. For example, if someone wants to become an expert violinist, like, they've got to be able to see their future self, and then they've got to get the right mentors, teachers, trainers, and system to get them up to becoming that professional violinist. And so you got to know in a lot of ways where you want to go, even though you probably can't fully conceptualize or comprehend 10x bigger. You can at least put a number on it in some degrees, but the actual reality of it is beyond your current comprehension, which is great because it invites massive transformation. It requires you to step back from everything you're doing to get off the hamster wheel of your current process, to slow things down and to start getting new perspectives, better mentors, better thinking, better recovery, better health. And so I love this. I love this. And I invite you to actually choose the 3 areas of your life, the 3 priorities, as Jim Collins would say. Jim Collins says, if you have more than 3 priorities, you have none. Choose 3 areas where you would like to specifically 10x, and then ask yourself, what would you actually look like? Who would your future self be if you actually realized this 10x? And then how could you start being that person now? And what who's could you start getting? What things do you need to eliminate immediately right now? Things that you're doing that clearly you wouldn't be doing at a 10x level, and either remove those, automate them, get who's to handle them. And then what partners could you start working with right now? What collaborators, which would open up the doors for 10x growth? It's a super fun mindset. It's super enjoyable. And transformation and learning is a huge aspect of life. And so 2x doesn't invite transformation. It just requires working harder, working more. And so I invite you to start thinking and living at 10x, but doing it easier, meaning you do less, you've got better recovery, better time, you're doing less, but better. That's kind of an essentialist principle, which I love that Greg McKeown presented. You're doing less things, but they're more within that unique ability, and you're collaborating with higher and higher quality people or organizations or situations where the combination enables a massive 10x jump. So that's 10x is easier than 2x. Hope it helped. My name is Dr. Benjamin Hardy. If you want a free copy of The Gap and the Gain, down below in the description, you can actually just click a link, put your email in. We will give you a Kindle copy, a code, so that you can actually read the book. Please like the channel, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.